When it comes to vlogging with the Action 4, there's one specific accessory that I would definitely say is worth getting, and you don't need it. Ugh, just had a fly go up my nose. You don't need it, but it's one of those things that for 3 reasons you'd actually want to consider getting. So the accessory that I'm talking about is a gimbal, and it's currently what I'm using at the moment because I've actually attached an ND filter to my Action 4. So the first reason comes down to slow shutter speeds. And there are 2 situations where this might happen. The first is by you wanting to use an ND filter. And if you want to use an ND filter to get that slower or that more natural motion blur, then you're going to have to obviously bring your shutter speed down. But when the shutter speed gets dropped, then the image stabilization doesn't work so well, so your footage is going to look really jittery. And so this also happens in low light situations, because in order for the Action 4 to kind of bring up the exposure, it has to drop your shutter speed. So again, you're going to get that kind of jittery footage. So the only way to avoid that and to get as smooth footage as possible is to use a gimbal. So that is the first reason why having a gimbal is actually really useful. But that really does only apply if you're going to be filming in low light a lot and if you do want to use an ND filter. So if those particular scenarios aren't really something that you're going to do, then the next reason is probably potentially going to be something that you might want to consider using a gimbal for. Now, you might be familiar with a certain setting in the Action 4 called horizon balancing, and if you're not, basically what that does is it gives you the freedom to kind of rotate the camera 45 degrees to the left and the right without the horizon moving, so the horizon will always stay level. However, if you enable that, so it's kind of like a stabilization feature as well, if you enable that, then it's going to crop your frame. So if you were shooting in the standard field of view, for example, because you didn't want to shoot in wide and have the kind of distortion that you get on the edges where straight lines become kind of curved, then you'd shoot in the standard profile. But then if you enable horizon balancing, then you're just going to narrow your frame even more, even if you wanted to still kind of maintain that wide field of view. Morning, that's all right. It's the other way. And so the next best option is to just use a gimbal, because the gimbal is going to do what horizon balancing does, but it just means that you don't have to then obviously set horizon balancing and then lose part of your frame. You can just keep it at the standard field of view and keep your horizon level. So that is the second reason. And so the final reason, which is probably my main reason for using a gimbal, so even though I do use ND filters occasionally, I don't use them as much as I used to because I just don't want to faff around when I'm out. I just want to shoot things and get things done really quickly. But the main reason that I use the gimbal is for creative shots. So when I'm shooting my B-roll, I like to get low to the ground, or I like to do like jib-like shots where you kind of, you know, you're up high and then you can sweep down low. And the only way to really do that effectively is to use a gimbal. And also when you're doing reveal shots or anything where, again, you just want to make sure that your horizon is completely level, the best way is to use a gimbal. So the creative shots are definitely my main reason for using a gimbal. And the gimbal that I use is the Hohem iSteady Pro 4, and I've been using this gimbal for a good few years now, and it's probably out of all the ones that I've used for an action camera, it's probably my preferred one because it's so quick and easy to get the camera out of the gimbal without having to unscrew anything. You just hook it off and then put the gimbal in and then hook it back on, and then same for taking it out as well. So I'll put a link in the description to that gimbal. And also, if you are curious to know what my camera settings are, I've got a link in the description to my cheat sheet which has all my camera settings on there. But I hope the video was useful. Like I said, these are just scenarios that I found from using my action camera that I think a gimbal is worthy for. And let me know what you think. Do you use a gimbal? Would you use a gimbal? Let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.